Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Joint Entrance Exam, JEE, one of the toughest exams in the world. Every year around 1.1 million students appear in the exam and only around 10,000 get into IITs or Indian Institute of Technology. But those 2 years have quite a huge impact on you. Those 2 years stay with you for the rest of your life. Yes, I had given JEE last year. And even though I couldn't get into IIT, but I was getting admission into NIT Rourkela. But I wasn't getting the branch which I wanted, so instead I went for a Canadian university. Now, why did I do so? I can make a separate video on that. But as of now, let me tell you, one of the best ways to know what JEE is and what are its impacts and all, the best way is to listen to the interview of students who have already given JEE. What you are looking at are two humans, or as the scientific term says, two Homo sapiens. But we are not just any humans, we are two JEE aspirants, or rather say two former JEE aspirants. Now for the people who don't know what JEE is, I don't think there would be anybody who won't be knowing about JEE. But still, let's imagine you have been living under a rock. So JEE is an exam which every year 1.1 million students give in India. And among those students, only about 10,000 students get a desirable result. And even among those 10,000 students, only about 5,000 students get a good branch in engineering colleges, thanks to the amazing logic that branches should be given on the basis of rankings. Anyways, so to discuss more about JEE, I have with me a friend of mine, Paritosh. Hey Paritosh, how are you?
Well, fine on paper, but burning from inside.
That's what happens with most of the JEE aspirants.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, how was your experience in a nutshell?
Well, quite frankly speaking, it was a bit disappointing and I guess to some extent sheer waste of time.
Yeah, it was a waste of time. For the people who don't know, students start preparing for the exam 2 years prior to the real exam. And some people start even earlier. I have seen people preparing for JEE since the age of 11 and 12.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is really crazy. You can imagine the level of competition that we have to face. Now, there was a friend of mine actually in the US, and he used to say that SAT is a really tough exam. So, I once sent him the picture of our JEE questions. And then he was like, on the very next day, he said, SAT is a piece of cake.
That's what exactly happens.
Yeah. Anyway, so what were some of the struggles that you had to face?
Well, don't be so nonchalant. It was like we had to be like from the starting of 11th, I had to go to coaching. And like in coaching, it was like 5.5 hours of coaching.
Yeah.
Plus you can say for a half an hour, it was like going from coaching to our home and then to, and transportation thing. And then it was like we from the day when in our coaching, our sir said that we have to study 8 hours a day. So you can see from 10th we were studying about 2 and 2.5 hours a day to going at a triple extent like 8 hours a day. Like it's a huge step. So studying that much and then you feel so tired. And you need a proper sleep for that. So I think 8 hours of sleep is a must for that. And you have at the end of the day now you have only 2 hours, and from 2 hours also your 1 hour goes on eating and then bathing and any other stuff you have to do, and you only have 1 hour of spare time.
But by then we'll be on the bed.
Yeah, by then we'll be on the bed. So that's the thing.
And the desk as well.
Yeah, and man, the desk is something like we had to sleep we had to study on desk and like eat on desk and sleep on desk. Like desk became an important part of our life.
Yeah, I know, my entire lower back would be sore by the end.
Exactly, and we have been doing that for 2 years.
Continuously for 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I know what you guys would be thinking. You would be like, if it was so difficult, then why did you enter the field in the first place? Man, we had no other choices. We wanted to do engineering, and to get into a good college, we had to give the exam. And anyways, this exam was always hyped by the media and our teachers as well. So we ended up fancying the exam. To get into a good college, that is, I'm talking about either IITs or NITs. Now these are the government funded colleges in India, or as we say, the tier 1 colleges of India. Now the drop from tier 1 and tier 2 is quite significant in India. I mean, it is not so significant in countries like US and others, but here it is a big thing. So yeah, and our teachers also always told us that if you get into a good IIT, you'll get a 1 CR package.
Oh man, that myth of 1 CR package is something really...
It's a mythical figure, absolutely. That 1 CR has its own realities, but
like it sounds good, but when it comes to reality, it's totally different.
Mm-hmm. And that is if we get an international package, and there are a lot of complexities. I don't want to get into it because that's a different thing completely. That's a matter of some other day's discussion. So anyways, where did you live? I mean, did you stay with your family, or were you staying at a dorm or something?
Well, I was just living alone for the 2 years, and when you live with a family, all things you have to do, they are being distributed. But when you are living alone, you have to just deal with all type of distractions also, and the distraction is the really main point in the JEE. We are focused for some 2 or 3 months, but after that everything just goes in a wane, and the focus, the primary factor just goes out of our life,
vanishes from our lives. Literally. I was actually quite lucky that I was staying with my family though. That would always ease things a little bit, only by a certain extent though, but still, some relief is better than none, right?
But stress is a stress, so how did you deal with this amount of stress?
To be quite honest, I would never be able to deal with the stress. I mean, I was always a reserved kind of a guy. I don't like to share my mental state with a lot of people, even with my parents. I mean, so what I would do is, I would lock myself in the washroom and then just, scream and shout and swear and just cry, because crying in public is not possible in India, especially if you're a guy. So I would hurt myself and then sometimes release my anger on some other students and all. And it was really difficult, man. At times I even was totally broken down and felt suicidal as well on multiple occasions, but somehow I just hung in there.
Suicidal thoughts are really a thing when it comes to JEE, or even in the case of NEET also.
It happens with almost every person at least once.
Yeah man, it's really disappointing. Just to add 1 or 2 points more, I think you forgot, where there was also one stage at our life where it was schools. In 11th and 12th, the school's assignments, journals, we have to do side by side, and we had to do coaching also. So it was so hectic. And when it comes to Sundays were our test, 300 marks.
Every week there was one test.
And for JEE, 150 to 200 is a really good score, and getting to that score is not that much easy. In 10th, our preparation was really a bit or like that, and so we could have deal with it. But in 11th, if you go with a really good preparation, you don't have any assurity of scoring such a great marks.
Kind of depends on luck as well.
Yeah, and after this all paper, you feel really disappointed when your paper does not go well. But the next day on Monday morning, you have the paper discussion.
That was the worst part, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of all. I mean, teachers would tell us that come here and ask all your doubts, and no question is small or big or anything. So I would go there and ask him a question, and he'll be like, oh, don't ask such simple questions. I mean, you should be knowing this. And if I ask a tough one, then he'll say, oh, it's a tough one, it won't come in the paper. Then what am I supposed to ask then? I cannot ask a simple question, I cannot ask a tough question. What am I supposed to do then? And especially after a test, after the test, if I ask any question, any random question from the paper, then he'll say, notes mein karaya hua question hai. And that notes mein karaya hua question, it was never in the notes, believe me, never.
This is a thing.
So, anyways, any final thoughts? I mean, who should give the exam? Who should appear for JEE?
Well, quite frankly, I think nobody should. Well, just joking. It's a thing the people who have the willpower of titanium should give this exam. Cause you need a really hard work, determination, and being regular. You have to be these 3 factors you have to keep in your mind so that you really succeed in such type of exams. This type of exam really requires everything from you. If you have done every masti till 10th, but in 11th, 12th it's your time to get serious, and just focus and dedicate yourself.
It might sound boring, but you need to. I mean, if you want to clear the exam, you need to. I would actually
It's the
like to add
harsh
to
reality
it.
of it.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to add to what you just said. Even the people who are like ambitious about their lives, even they face difficulties in JEE, because to give JEE you need to be really one-dimensional. You need to think only about JEE, nothing about the job, nothing about the college, only and only JEE.
I have seen people who have been they have started preparing from 8th or 9th, but they still cannot succeed because the seats are so less, and you really have to be you really have to just give your 100%. And there's one more point I want to add. Like, if you have to prepare for JEE, the school should also bring a system like from 6th or 7th. A student's liberty should be to taken away to a smaller extent, so that he knows what he will go through 11th or 12th. Like, it's just a burden from 10th to 11th. It just shifts so much. Like, it becomes so depressing for a kid. Like, I think this much of all I can say about this thing.
I hope the new policy changes things.
Yeah.
Not sure about it, but still.
So, any final words from your side?
Yeah, actually, JEE is something that has really made as well as broken down many people. It is by far the toughest exam in the world. You need to think twice before joining any of the coaching institutes. And millions have been giving this exam since the past, don't know how many, 5-6 decades maybe, and millions will continue to give it every year. And it is like a torture that can kill you both physically and mentally, and as well as psychologically.
Yes.
It is really tough, but I mean, if you stay calm and determined and really focus only and only on studies, and the most important thing, stay regularity.
That's the most important.
I cannot stress on this enough. Regularity is the most important thing that you need. If you are regular, if you are determined, if you have the willpower of titanium, you will eventually get there. Thank you.
Let me tell you one more thing. Like, if you crack this exam, then I think you are going to be successful, because getting in the 5,000 seats out of the, I mean, how much, 1.2 million students, it's really a tough task. And if you manage to do that, I mean, you are going to be successful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me, and that was it from us. Thank you. Bye. I once again stress on the fact that we are not here to demotivate you. If you toughen up for these 2 years, then let me tell you, your self-esteem will never take a drop for the rest of your life. So this is it for this video. I know it was quite a contrasting video, but I always like to give surprises. So if you like my work, then do subscribe to my channel, like it and share it as much as you can. That's it from me. Thank you.